In this video, I'm going to describe the Chaocipher, which was invented by John Byrne in 1918, so almost 100 years ago. This is designed to be a mechanical wheel cipher, and as you can see, I kind of have some wheel shapes. I'm not very good at, apparently, obviously, making circles out of alphabetical tiles, but the idea was that you had two alphabets, a plain text alphabet and a ciphertext alphabet, and you would look up the plain text character in your plain text or right alphabet, and then that would map to a ciphertext character in the left ciphertext alphabet. These were mechanical wheels that were physically attached to one another, and when you turned one, the other turned with it in unison. You could also detach that physical connection, so you could turn one wheel independent of the other. Also, the concept of the Chaocipher is the idea of a zenith and a nadir. These are mathematical concepts in geometry. They're nothing new. But the zenith would be identified as the top of a circle. I've identified that with pennies. And the nadir as the bottom of the circle. I've identified these with nickels. And I guess technically the N would be the nadir of the alphabet, not the M. But at any event, there would be a zenith and a nadir. And the process would be to look up the plaintext character in the right plaintext alphabet. That would help you locate the ciphertext character. Then you would do some modifications, and you would need to pay attention to the zeniths and the nadirs while you're doing those modifications. I find the circles to be cumbersome in use, and a little bit better to use if I were just to break the circles and create straight lines. So if I were to just break the circle at between the A and Z and separate these characters out in a straight line, then I find it much easier to use. So I'm going to go ahead and separate those right now, and I will be right back. Okay, so now we're back. In this case, I've straightened out the two circles, as you can see, and made two straight lines. And the zenith was where the A was at the top of the circle. The nadir is at the bottom, or halfway around the circumference. So in this case, the nadir, my nickel, is at N. I've put the plain text alphabet on the top and the ciphertext alphabet on the bottom. The algorithm is the same, regardless if you're working with the straight line or the circles. I find it easier to work with the straight lines when working with the algorithm in the case of these tiles. In fact, a better algorithm or a better implementation of this algorithm is using playing cards. You can implement the Chaocipher using a standard deck of playing cards, and I've recorded a video about that, so go ahead and check that out. I find that even more convenient to use than tiles. But let's see how the algorithm works. So let's say I wanted to encrypt the plain text, do not use PC. Okay? So the first character in my plain text is a D. So I locate the D in my plain text alphabet, and immediately below it will I find the ciphertext character. So in this case, it's also a D. Now, traditionally with the Chaocipher, these alphabets would be randomly shuffled. The plain text would be some random shuffling of A through Z, and the ciphertext possibly some different random shuffling of A through Z. I want to keep them in order so you can see how the permutations work as we work through our algorithm. So I locate my first, in fact, let me grab a pencil. We'll go ahead and write this down as we are working it out. So I want to encrypt do not use PC. Okay? And I'm going to encrypt this with the Chaocipher. So my plaintext character maps to the ciphertext character D in this unshuffled alphabet order. So I would write D as my first ciphertext. Now I need to move both the plaintext and the ciphertext characters to the zenith. So I'm going to go ahead and I would rotate the wheel till the D is at the zenith, which means these characters would have rotated to this position in the circle. And the same with my ciphertext. These three would have rotated to the bottom. Okay. Now I need to permute the left and right alphabets. It's important to understand that the cipher, in my case, the ciphertext character was my left and the plaintext character was my right. Okay. So first we're going to permute the left alphabet. This is done by taking the zenith plus one character out of the circle, in our case the E. And we're going to move that to the nadir where it is currently Q, right? So that means that all of these come shifted up one, and then my E gets dropped at the nadir. We're done permuting the left alphabet. Now we need to permute the right. Permuting the right is done by rotating the circle one more character. So now my D comes to the back. And then taking the zenith plus two character and moving that to the nadir. So all these come shifted by one, and then this gets dropped into place. And now we are ready to begin encrypting the second character. You'll notice this adds good diffusion. The only character-to-character mapping that stayed the same was the second tile. In every single case, all these characters are off, right? They're off by one in this case, and they continue to be off by one over here. So in my next encryption, when I want to encrypt O, I find O. In this case, it maps to N rather than O itself, right? So I write down N, and then I move that to the zenith, so that shifts all those off. And all these guys come to the back. Do the same thing with our N character. My ciphertext character moves to the zenith. And then all these guys come to the back. All right. Now we need to permute my left and right alphabets. So the left alphabet, we move the zenith plus one character out and place it at the nadir. So those go shifted by one, then this comes right there. Permuting the right alphabet, remember I move it over by one character. So that comes to the end. Then I remove the zenith plus two character and put that at the nadir, which in this case comes there. Again, we can see good diffusion, right? Now I don't have any single character-to-character mapping that matches A to A or B to B. Everything is off by at least one, or if not two. My P to P here in the second character is off by one, and my Q, but everything else is off by a two-character mapping. So this adds good diffusion. John Byrne certainly created an algorithm which adds good diffusion to the ciphertext. So let's go ahead and encrypt the rest of this. I'll go through it kind of quickly, and hopefully we can see how that works. So next is N. N needs to come all the way to the zenith. I hope you can see that if I were to just do this, that would be the same, right? And I need to do the same with my ciphertext, just to make things easier. So my ciphertext character is L. Permute the left alphabet and permute the right alphabet. So the next one, O. O maps to L. They're both at the zenith, so I don't need to move anything here. So go ahead and permute the left alphabet. And then permute the right alphabet. Now I need to find T in my plain text. T maps to Q. Q is my ciphertext. I'm going to go ahead and permute these guys. Or not permute them, but rotate them. Right? Rotate the circles. And then we permute the left alphabet. And we permute the right alphabet. Okay. Locate U. U maps to Q. Q is the next character. Permute the left alphabet. Permute the right alphabet. Okay. Need to find S in the plain text. S maps to Y. Now I need to permute or rotate, rather, the right alphabet. Then rotate the left alphabet. Okay. Permute the left and permute the right. We're almost finished. Need to find the plain text E, which maps to M. And then permute those guys. Permute the left alphabet, and permute the right. Now I need to find P in the plain text. P is at the top, maps to M. No need for a rotation in this case, so we'll permute the left, and permute the right. Alphabets are getting a little sloppy in their alignment. And finally, we're going to encrypt the letter C. C maps to W. We're going to rotate that, bring it up to the zenith, bring these guys to the end. Let me find my W, move that to the zenith. Permute the left alphabet, and permute the right alphabet. So there we have it, my plain text alphabet and my ciphertext, or my plain text message and my ciphertext message do not use PC mapped to DNLLQQYMMW. Of course, with the Chaocipher, you want to make sure that your plain text alphabets and your ciphertext alphabets are randomly shuffled. Obviously, we don't want to use an unkeyed alphabet where all the alphabets are in their alphabetical order. But, as you can see, this is a fairly simplistic algorithm. It has been heavily analyzed by cryptographers, mostly led by Moshe Rubin. If you go to chaocipher.com, you can see their analysis. John Byrne has published a number of ciphertexts to challenge readers into breaking the algorithm. And as it stands today, there is no ciphertext-only break of the Chaocipher. So the Chaocipher is, at least by modern standards, a good, secure algorithm that you can execute by hand. So there you have it. That's the Chaocipher. Again, we straightened out our alphabets into 2 rows with my zenith and my nadir, using a penny and a nickel to identify those locations. But that's the Chaocipher algorithm. So I hope you enjoyed it. Leave any questions in the comments below. Thanks.